Welcome to Engage on the Go. I'm Judy Maggio. A priority for Leadership Austin is to increase civic engagement by convening even more people in critical community conversations. We know not everyone's available for our monthly Engage Breakfast, so we're bringing these panel discussions to you through this Engage on the Go series. Our hope is to encourage a thoughtful dialogue about a community issue at a time and place that works for you. We want to thank our presenting sponsor, University Federal Credit Union, who's helping us bring these series of discussions to where we live, work, and play.
Hello, my name is Tony Boudet. I'm CEO of University Federal Credit Union. We're proud to partner with Leadership Austin as presenting sponsor of Engage on the Go. We hope this series sparks thoughtful, respectful dialogues at a time and place that work best for you.
This has been an exciting year of conversation at our Engage Breakfast series. We've presented panel discussions on topics that impact life in the greater Austin community and engaged in dialogue with the goal of achieving greater civic engagement. Thank you for joining us in these discussions. As we close out the season, here are some of the important community issues that were discussed at the breakfast with Travis County Judge Sarah Eckhardt and Austin Mayor Steve Adler.
Travis County and communities like us who are deeply committed to resisting and undoing that kind of institutional hoarding, we always have a target on our backs operating in a state that is still very, very committed to that institutional hoarding, still feels very justified in it, and that it is the only path to prosperity. So the idea of having a target on our backs is not new.
We know what has been called Austin bashing at the legislature for a long time. And in that respect, it's the same. But I think it's also different this year. Different this year because it doesn't focus just as much on Austin as it has in past years. I think there's been a more general offensive against cities generally. Not just targeted at Austin, and I think it reflects a more fundamental political polarization that we're seeing in the state now ever more of the major cities, urban areas versus the rural or small cities. So they passed a law which we would then be violating by not accepting what were otherwise voluntary detainer requests. That law was passed and then it was signed. It's important to note that that law goes farther than federal law, and it is the position of the city and Travis County that the state can't go farther than federal law on matters of immigration.
It's extremely important to our community to know down in their fiber that it doesn't matter what neighborhood you live in, where your parents were born, how much education you have, we will protect you and we will hold people accountable who hurt you. That is fundamental. And so what SB 4 means for us, those of us who work in law enforcement and public safety, is a major unsettling of that bedrock belief. Because SB 4 says, we are going to treat you more harshly, hold you longer with less due process if we think you might be in the country without documentation. My job normally would be behind closed doors dealing with, engineers and lawyers and planners and stuff. I really am more like the city manager, but for the county. So my position is not predisposed to this symbolic call that it's being pulled into in these really divisive times. But the mayor's office is much more attuned to that.
We're trying so hard on affordability, we don't have a lot of tools a lot of cities have to deal with affordability issues and the loss of middle income population in the city, the artists and the creatives and a diversified population. Just because we live in Texas, we don't have many of the tools that many cities have. But we go into this legislative session, we were just beginning to talk about the potential of having a new tool, planning to sit down with the development community and everybody to say, hey, is there something we could do here that actually provides a significant profit and private market incentive in order to be able to help us deliver some things. And just the fact that we raised our hand to say, hey, let's have a conversation, the state legislature took away that tool.
You're talking about affordability.
Yeah, the governor vetoed a bill that had been passed by both houses of the legislature on homestead preservation districts. When we get caught in the national politics and the national rhetoric, it makes it harder to do the really basic things that a city wants its government to do.
We are seeing an exportation of low opportunity into the unincorporated areas. People are driving till they qualify, as it were. They're moving to Del Valle, Manor, Pflugerville, looking for affordability and a lower tax burden. There's no silver bullet, but there is a combination, a cocktail, as it were, that but for all this falderall about federal immigration and whatnot, Mayor Adler and I are deeply engaged in this and would like to be spending much more time on that, on transportation, affordable housing, education, and middle-skilled workforce development. That's the cocktail to solve that issue.
Housing is the most significant expense for almost every household in the city.
And taxes, property taxes.
Property taxes, let me talk about both those real fast. On the housing issue, we have a 2-month supply of housing, that's open and waiting. We've had that for the last 5 years. You don't have an equalized market until you have 6-month supply of housing on the market. When we have 40 people that are all bidding for the same house or the same apartment, that
The realtors in the room are happy about that.
So
No, you're not. Okay, never mind.
We need to do
Okay.
no inventory, no deals. We need more inventory. We're getting a lot of support from the real estate community. We need to increase supply of housing in this city, which is why Code Next is an important process for us to work through and work through correctly.
Don't stand behind the barricades with your friends who think like you. Get out into the middle where you see the muzzle flashes. Find the people in that issue area who are on the opposite side. Get yourself into that conversation that's going to make the heat rise, and challenge yourself to feel it and to see it and to find the path forward. If we can do it at the local level, we can start scaling it. And nothing is more inspiring than to find that place. And if you can't manage it, you will find somebody else who is managing it. And it propagates itself. If we can figure out how to do that at the local level, in our families, in our workplaces, in our community, we will expand it. We will scale it and export it.
I think that what we really lack right now is a measure of civility in the civic discourse. So I would urge everybody, because everybody seems to be really involved in civic conversations at some level, to really try to promote the value of civility. Most people, even people on the other side, have an argument that has some aspect of it that is redeeming. And most people involved in those conversations are generally people of goodwill. So if we could get back to the place where we could actually engage in policy conversations in a civil way, I think the country would do better. We would do better as a community.
We hope you found this edition of Engage on the Go helpful. Greater Austin is a diverse, rapidly growing region, facing issues that will certainly shape this place we call home. Please enjoy your conversation, and thank you for caring enough to share your perspectives with each other.